In this video, I'm going to show you how to use Minitab to create a scatterplot, find a linear model, and find the correlation coefficient. So here's an example of a homework problem. We have data from a small bookstore. The manager wants to predict sales from number of salespeople working. So I'm going to open up my data table, and I'm going to click on the blue box in the upper right corner, like we did before, to copy the data. I'm going to copy it to clipboard. Now notice in this data set I do have a row here that has headings in it. So when I copy and paste my data into Minitab, I'm going to paste it in that top row so that the headings go in the top row and the data starts in row 1. So when I do that, that's what it looks like. And now what I'm going to do is go to regression and click on simple regression. Now I need to make sure I identify correctly which is my response variable and which is my predictor variable. So going back to my original problem, the manager wants to predict sales from number of salespeople working. Or in other words, the manager wants to use number of salespeople working to predict sales. So my predictor variable is number of salespeople working, and I'm going to use that to predict my response variable, which is sales. Linear regression needs to be checked, so that's okay. And then click OK. And it's going to give you a lot of numbers here that we're not going to worry about. So this analysis of variance table, don't worry about that. Model summary, don't worry about that. Coefficients. Here's the regression equation, and that's what's important. If I scroll down to the bottom, then I see the fitted line plot, which is what Minitab calls a scatter plot. Move this down so I can see it better. And it has the points and it has the line automatically put on the scatter plot. So I'm going to go back up here to my regression equation. Sales equals 8.8116 plus 0.91965 times number of salespeople working. So what I want to identify first for the homework question is the slope estimate. It says round to 2 decimal places as needed. So that would be this number, and rounded to 2 decimal places would be 0.92. Now question B says, what does B1 mean in the context? And we know that this is the slope, so it's the amount associated with each additional salesperson working. Or an increase of 1 additional salesperson, it's the increase in dollar amount of sales. Now you have to be careful with this one because my data table values are not dollar sales, it's sales in $1,000. So what that means is that this is not 92 cents increase in sales per additional salesperson. I need to multiply that number by 1,000. So if I multiply this number by 1,000 and then round to the nearest dollar as needed, that's going to be $920. So 0.91965 multiplied by 1,000 and then round to the nearest dollar. This is a little bit tricky here. And that's correct. Now it's going to ask me for the intercept, or the y-intercept. Round to 2 decimal places, so this would be 8.81. And so that's the sales expected when 0 salespeople are working. Now, I would say that that's not meaningful in the context, because if you don't have anybody working at the store, how is anybody going to make any sales? So I'm going to choose option C, and then remember, again, this is in $10,000, or sorry, in $1,000, so I need to multiply by answer by 1,000. So if I multiply 8.8116 by 1,000 and then round to the nearest dollar, that would be $8,812. And then it's going to ask me to fill in the values of the equation. Round to 2 decimal places as needed. This is going to match up pretty nicely with the equation in Minitab. 8.81 plus 0.92 times number of salespeople working. And then I'm going to use my equation to predict. So for this, I would plug in 17 for a number of salespeople working and get the value. Now, the last thing I want to show you in Minitab is how to find the value of R. So in all of these numbers here, they're not giving you the value of R. You need to calculate that separately. And this won't be on the homework, but it will be on the data analysis assignment. So I want to show it to you. What you need to do is click back on this button that says regression. And you're going to click this time on correlation. And what you're going to do is enter the two variables that you want to find the correlation between, the X and Y. Now in this window, it doesn't matter what order you enter them in. So I'm just going to enter them both in. The value of R would be the same. And that's something that I mentioned in the video, that if you switch the X and Y, if they switch places, then the value of R does not change. And then we're going to use what's called the Pearson correlation method. So just leave that and click OK. And then it's going to give you the value right here, 0.985153. So that indicates a pretty strong correlation between number of salespeople working and these sales.